There we go. Look at that. It's 2:30 p.m. It's a Wednesday afternoon. It's a snowstorm in Stockholm, Sweden, but that doesn't matter because we have love and light in our hearts. Welcome to Innovation Fika. My name is Donny. Every Wednesday I go live with my innovation coffee break with amazing people, with incredible ideas, and with big, huge red cups as well. See, matching the lipstick, dress, and cup today. Everything. Wonderful. In brief, very short, my name is Donny. If you haven't seen me before, every Wednesday I go live with this Wednesday afternoon 30-minute coffee break with interesting people about interesting ideas and hopefully, and well, not hopefully, actually always something to learn. That's the whole thing. That's why it's called innovation. We're always learning something. And it's called Fika because it's a coffee break. So Innovation Fika. You can follow me and see all my content, of course, on LinkedIn. Most of my written content is still on LinkedIn. However, I've gone back to posting more daily on Instagram now as well. So the daily, everyday posts from travels and such that are on Instagram. And then the written stuff is on Medium as well, all collected there, all of my posts. And then, of course, all of these shows are recorded and saved on my YouTube channel. So check all of these out if you want to see what I've done before. Enough about that. Enough about me. We are here with Tara. Welcome back to the show, Tara.
Thank you so much for having me again. This is such an
Wonderful
honor.
to have you back. Wonderful to have you back.
I'm a two-timer so
Yeah,
far,
I know. Yeah,
but
you're like
I think there's going to be more for
you're
sure.
gonna soon you'll be getting the gold star of the three times at the Donny's show. It's like the first gold star.
You
It's
have an
like,
awards program.
yeah, exactly. Level up on Donny's show. It's like, look at this, getting some good people here. We have our dear friend Yash from India. So good. He's one of our regulars. Good to see you, Yash. Nathan from North Carolina. There you go.
Amen.
One of yours. And then, of course, we have Joachim from Stockholm as well. Mr. Coupon. Good to see you, Joachim. Old friend of mine. He's the guy that actually invented mobile coupons, by the way. And that was like
Wow.
1873 when me and Joachim were working in the mobile industry, actually starting the mobile industry here in Stockholm, Sweden. That was a long time ago when people were looking at these new things and I said, why is there a camera on this thing? Are you supposed to phone people with it? That's the kind of thing. And look at this, another one from Sweden here. Sai Krishna, Babu, that was a long name. Whew. Sai Krishna, welcome. Good to see you, sir. And more people from India as well. Lots of people from India. Anyway, Tara, you have a new book coming out.
I do. I'm so excited.
But tell me Tara is on the show to talk to us about leveling up your personal branding. She did the personal branding on the previous show. You can check that one out on the YouTube channel. But now we're leveling everything up. We're getting to a higher level of personal branding. And Tara is probably the best person I know when it comes to personal branding, specifically on LinkedIn. So tell us about this new book.
Wow. So I'm documenting this journey, and what a journey it's been. But it was just March of 2022 when I made a leap into full-time entrepreneurship, right? And we've talked about that. So, if you would have told me a year ago, by the way, that I was going to be writing a book, I would have thought you were crazy. But here I am today, and it's just all about that 1% everyday self-improvement, right? But the book is about confidence. Confidence!
Yeah.
It's like the one big thing that most people have a lack of and nobody talks about, right?
Yeah.
So I'm excited. And that was one of the biggest things that I learned as an entrepreneur. When you first have to step out, it's not that easy. And you can kind of be hidden a little bit and comfortable, and you don't even realize that you're in that comfort zone. And then you decide to be an entrepreneur and step out to the world because you have to. And you realize, well, I need confidence to do this.
Yeah.
And I feel like that holds so many really smart, really powerful, really innovative people back in their careers and their lives, just not having that foundation of confidence, Donnie. And I want to wake people up a little bit and show them it's okay to talk about too.
So how do you how do I do this? Can I practice confidence, or can I build confidence, or what do I do?
Yeah,
How do I
both.
find my confidence? It sounds like
Ooh, I like
the lion in the Wizard of Oz kind of thing, right? Finding the courage kind of thing.
absolutely. It's all inside of you. And I think that's one of the most important points of it is, you know, you don't have to, it's like love. You don't have to look elsewhere for love. Love can be internal,
Mm,
right? And you have to first have that self love in order to love something else, right? So confidence is kind of the same way. It's that little seed, even if it's a small little unformed seed within you, that seed has the potential to be an oak tree, right? It needs is that cultivation, just
mm,
like a seed would. It needs cultivation, it needs attention, it needs care, it needs continuous, nutrients and things like that.
mm,
And just like that seed that, no matter how small it is, it, as long everyone has one, it can be cultivated, and with steady self improvements, there's no magic pill. Over time, you can be a completely different person. So, the saying, if I improve 1% every day, at the end of the year, you're 37 times improved. Well, what if you did that with confidence
mm.
too?
Of course.
Right? It
Yeah.
sounds so simple, but that 1% self improvement initiative over time lead with anything, right? You
Mm.
could be a better athlete, a better work out more, eat a little bit better every day, improve on your self confidence and the way you talk to yourself every day, you know?
And I love the whole seed and tree analogy as well. I mean, that's a perfect analogy as well of how to work with something small that might look and feel very insignificant, but actually can become something very, very big over time, as you say, with the right kind of support. And I also like the part where we all know probably that if I'm going to learn any other language, I need to, I do some exercises every day and I get better and better at the language. And as I get better at the language, I can, speak. But we very seldom talk about confidence, self-esteem in the same kind of manners. It's kind of, you either have it or you don't. And then you have to go from I don't have it to I have it. And it's like this huge leap from nothing to everything. And then you have the whole, what if you don't have it? Just fake it till you make it. And then one day, and then one day what? Just because I might make it doesn't mean that I feel better about myself, right? I mean, I know a lot of people who've sort of made it, but they're miserable. And, that's not the same thing. I mean, making it isn't the same thing as becoming somebody that has a firm footing. I'd say. Do you?
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah,
And that's part of, the journey of building a personal brand. You have to have the confidence to show up, right?
yeah,
Because it takes a lot of courage, and especially it takes a lot of courage if you're building a personal brand to showcase yourself as a subject matter expert and authority. A
yes,
lot of people, Donnie, and you know that, shy away from that. They shy away from telling the world what they're really good at.
mm,
And it's not only doing themselves a disservice, but the entire world is not benefiting because that person ultimately is lacking confidence. So you have to have these elements, you have to have these things. But going back to another part of personal branding that you were just intimating is core value structure. What do you believe in, right? And that helps you build your confidence because it helps align your life.
yeah,
If you decide that freedom is a core value for you, you're probably going to want to be an entrepreneur. You're probably going to want to go your own path. So if you waste a lot of time applying to jobs, maybe you're going to continually fail, right? Potentially, because it's not meant for you.
mm,
But
yeah,
you first have to have that confidence to see what's possible.
mm,
It's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? At the very top, at the very pinnacle of that pyramid is self-actualization. That's your ideal self.
mm.
You don't get there from all the way at the bottom of the period to the top. You have to go through those layers,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I 100%. I'm just going to say that. Please post questions in the feed. Ask us questions. Keep the comments going. I had a couple here directly from Nathan here. Liking the comparison to language, the learning is a process. Yes, everything is a process. And we miss out on a lot of great people because they doubt themselves. So true. So true, Nathan. We meet with so many people that know so much that should, that should come out there. Here, the problem with faking it until making it is that people forget to do the latter. Yes, of course. Indeed, that's so true. So, where do we start? What's the first? Looking at me then, who has no self confidence at all. Uh,
I love it.
But I will say that this is the same discussion we had with growth mindset, because it's not a 100% or a 0%. In some situations, you have a growth mindset. In some situations, you might have a fixed mindset. So I'd say with the confidence, you were talking about comfort zones. Within a comfort zone, one might feel that one is confident, but as soon as you sort of venture out of what is normal or comfortable, you go, oh, this is kind of unusual, and this is something new, and as you say, going from like a job to being an entrepreneur and trying your own thing, maybe having to sell your product or service for the first time, that can be a very scary thing, especially if oh, there's so many things that goes into that. So, but where do you start? What's like the first step of moving towards this new self?
Absolutely. Love it. So I have 5 steps to confidence. The first
Five
step,
steps. Five
yeah,
steps. Okay, 5 steps.
5 steps.
Okay,
The first step is gratitude. Okay, so gratitude is an essential element for rewiring our brains. We know that. So it helps shift and reframe our mindset. Yay, just what you were talking about. But it's not just about gratitude for the present, it's also gratitude for the person that you were, the journey, all those lessons that you learned along the way. Gratitude for the present, what you have, and then gratitude for the person you are becoming. So that is being able to have a sight, have a visual of who that person is. So you have to get really clear on your thoughts. But it starts with gratitude, because gratitude keeps you anchored in the present. So key. So that is step 1, which is secretly 3 small mini steps, but we're going to cut
yeah, no,
it.
I just have to comment on that one as well. Practicing, then this is interesting though, in the whole process, because it's not. I'm just saying to everybody out there, it's not just like take off these 5 and it's not. It's a process. Practicing gratitude is something that we also need to do, because we need to practice being grateful for just what you mentioned. It's something that we need to work on as well. So very good. 1, G for gratitude. Okay. Yes.
Yep. Great. G for gratitude. Next is R for responsibility. Responsibility, having an ownership mindset, not being a victim, not allowing your past or what's happening in your present to dictate a future outcome in reality. Also, having responsibility for the way we talk to ourselves and limit ourselves and how we show up to the world.
Exactly.
Responsibility.
This
That's
is
the
this
second
is
one.
so good. This is so good. I mean, we do this. We've done this before as well. The whole thing that you cannot affect what will happen to you, but you can always affect how you are going to be responsible for how you react to what happens to you, and that is your responsibility. You
Yeah.
decide how to react what happens. So I love it.
I love it.
Love it.
Thank you. The third one is action. Now, we don't have action first, because first we have to have a present mindset. We have to have responsibility second, because we have to have strategy. Because if you have a lot of action without strategy, what it's going to result in is wasted effort. Wasted effort, and you could go in the wrong direction. So have the responsibility of all of these things, right? Of your mindset, and then you have to put in the action. So the action is going to keep that momentum going. So no matter what, every single day, make that commitment to yourself, have the responsibility to move forward and to not let yourself get stagnant. So important.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm just commenting on stuff here, but action without intention is,
No
Where are you
doubt.
going? Why are you doing it? So perfectly, firmly grounded, footed. This is what I want to become, and then this is It's go on. I love it. Wonderful.
And then you have to have, for step number 4, sight. You have to have that visual, that anchor, what you want. And you have to keep it in the forefront of your mind. Because guess what? There's a lot of distractions out there, right? There's things coming at us all the time. There's negative, positive, neutral, whatever. But we have to have that sight, and it has to be anchored in the forefront of our mind so that we don't veer off course.
Mm-hmm.
Is once we get that action and momentum going, we have to anchor it. We have to
Mm-hmm.
keep it going. Keep feeding that fuel.
Yes. Very good. Very.
All right.
Yes. And then,
Lucky number 5.
yes,
Last
drum
one.
roll.
Drum roll. The last one is P for purpose.
Ah.
What is your purpose on planet Earth? Guys, the chances of all of us being born and alive right now is 1 in 400, not million, not billion, but trillion. You're a miracle. I'm a miracle. We're all miracles. All that story, all that pain, all that trauma, all those lessons, all leading you up to your purpose and why you're here. Utilize it and show the world how confident you can become by being your authentic self aligned with purpose.
Oh, what? And this, of course, spells
Grasp.
grasp. It's beautiful, Tara. This is beautiful. Well said and well packaged. I like that. So no, but this is really really good. And this is your whole book here, but in a very very short version. So it's G for gratitude,
Gratitude.
and then R for responsibility,
Yep.
and then A for action,
Yep.
and then S for sight,
Yep.
and P for purpose.
That's right.
I love it. And this then, if we connect it to the personal branding part that you've been working on personal branding for quite some time now and helping other people with personal branding for quite some time. So I'm guessing that all of this that you've come to a point where everything that you've learned over the past couple of years comes together, and this is what we need to work on when you're trying to sort of level up your own personal branding and yourself, because you're talking about yourself here and me and myself. How do I sort of level up myself in the world, and what's my purpose, and where am I going? And this is good. And there's Stefan as well. Need to see the yes, you do need to see the entire event with Stefan. Really good. And this is another grasp friend of mine, Stefan Bergsten. Very really great guy, really great. You should meet him one
Oh,
day. Stefan,
yeah.
you need to go to Thomasville in North Carolina and visit Tara. And Tara, you can go to another small city called Mjölby outside of Sweden. Equally small cities. And perfect. You'll definitely. Anyway, coming back to the personal branding thing. Sorry, everyone, for going off topic. I always do that. Tell me more about the connection of grasp to the personal branding part. How it connects.
Absolutely. So in order to develop that personal brand again, because so many people are intimidated by it. Again, it's something that scares a lot of people, or they just don't know how to approach it, right? But again, so many people are lacking in that more foundational level, which is that confidence. So as I started working with people, even executives, by the way, these are people that are industry leaders that you would think had all the confidence in the world. And it turns out they didn't, right? And that was holding so many people back, but they were almost afraid to say it out loud and admit it because it made them feel like less of a leader somehow. But because they weren't taking care of themselves, they couldn't grow. It's very simple. It sounds simple out loud when I say it, but it holds so many people back because they don't, again, take care of that foundational element, which is confidence. So you have to build the confidence. And when you do, you're able to show up better for your family at home, for yourself, right? You make better choices. And it all comes down to choices and decisions. You're able to show up as a better leader for your team. And guess what? Your company grows as a result.
Mhm.
There's a correlation between the leaders and the growth of a company. So, I think anybody can absolutely benefit from this book, but it especially, I feel like, hits home with people that are leaders. It takes you through my journey of where I came from in life. And honestly, everything that, I just started speaking, for example, all of those goals happened within less than a year's time. I
Mhm.
appeared in 60 podcasts and went from zero to, right? So anybody can do it, but it starts with that self belief and that confidence.
Yeah, but that's so true as well. And I think that, I mean, we could do a separate show on leadership, and we could do a separate show on LinkedIn, and we could, I mean, anything. But I think that some of the sort of the key points and the core elements here is that, I mean, be true to yourself, and be, as you say, gratitude, and learn to live with yourself. If you can't live with yourself, it's going to be a hard time living with somebody else as well. So, and I think that that's usually one of the big problems we see, both in relationships in private, but also in the office, is that, if people kind of project everything that they are unhappy about with themselves on other people, which makes relationships, any kind of social interaction, can be, failing. But it's usually not about any. I mean, the whole thing was, if you get really annoyed with another person, is it really about them? Or is it, how can you, or if nothing else, how can you choose to react? Because it's your choice of reacting to what the person opposite you is saying or doing. And it's your choice of reaction. It's not their action. It's your reaction that says more about you than them. So that's,
Yeah.
just saying that for everybody. That's a big thing. And when it
Yeah.
comes to leadership, exactly what you said is that I've worked a lot with leadership education. I mean, my first job, I was an officer in the army for 10 years. I mean, and the first job was, teaching young cadets the first basic ground rules of very practical hand-on leadership. And you always see it that, the more immature leader they are, no matter what age they are, the more fake it till you make it false confidence do they
Yeah.
have, this shield of pretending to be something they aren't. But once they sort of get more comfortable in their role, and they mature a bit, they relax, and then they become more of who they actually are, which means that they can relate more to the people they actually are trying to relate to, and then it starts working. But the immature leader will, I'm sorry to say, very often have this sort of shield of, this is how I'm supposed to be, and I'm going to be angry, I'm going to shout at people, and I'm going to blah, blah, blah. And that, works for a very short time, and then people go, stop listening to that person. That's the
Yeah.
kind of.
And that's why you have to have that responsibility mindset that,
Yeah.
you have to have responsibility for your actions.
Yes, 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 yes. And you are, I mean, you are what, everything you've just talked about. I mean, I've known you now for what, 2 years or something.
Yeah.
I think that you are, I mean, I think you are the perfect person to write this book as well, because I mean, this is what
Oh,
I think, that what you've also, the journey that you've done. And I think that and the people I work with here at the university, the first time entrepreneurs, and the
yeah.
people from research trying to go into sales, whatever it is, when they come here and they're really scared, I don't know how to do this, and then we just, it's okay. And my rule of life is that if you look around and you see anybody doing anything that you today cannot do, then obviously it's humanly possible because they're doing it. And if somebody else can do it, it's only a matter of time and training and practice and process, and sometimes resources. But it's not impossible, because if it's been done, it's possible. So then it's just a matter of how much you want it, and the process of getting there, kind of thing.
Yep.
I think for every little step you take, if you break it down into small steps, you don't go from not having anything to having everything, because that very seldom works. And then you realize that it's the small steps that make it. I think you broke it down very nice with the GRASP acronym. You
Yeah.
broke it
Thank
down
you.
very nicely there, because usually we cannot measure or teach it in that kind of way. We just say, you need to be more confident. You need to show more confidence. We don't
Exactly.
tell them. It's like saying, you need to speak French to me. Yeah, but how do I learn that? I need to learn it somewhere. I have to start somewhere. So I think it's a really good way of sort of breaking it down into a more tangible and accessible way of working with confidence. So yeah,
Literally step by step, no mysteries. No
we have,
mysteries,
yes,
step by step. I'm a very practical person.
yeah, but it's again, it's proving the point. And we know people online that we've met on LinkedIn. I mean, the funny thing is that we've never met each other apart from online and digital. And there's this group of people on LinkedIn, specifically on LinkedIn, hundreds of people that we've both met and
Yeah.
interact with. And you can see right away who are sort of true to themselves and the personal branding thing. Um,
Yeah.
and it just comes across as so much more honest and true, as opposed to the shield kind of people who are trying to sort of
Yeah.
push some kind of facade and be something that they aren't. That joke went. Thanks, Nathan. Awesome. No, but we have another 2 or 3 minutes here. So please, people, if there's anything you want to ask us or ask Tara, don't ask me. I mean, I'm always here, but Tara's only here like twice a year. I only have in a couple of years' time, Tara. And when I say Tara, do you want a third time? Tara will go, "Who are you again? I don't know."
No, oh hush. Hardly, hardly. You're in my Rolodex.
Oh, and for all the kids who don't know what a Rolodex is, it's like a really old-fashioned, like, yeah.
But I'm excited. It's again, it's if you would have told me a year ago that I'd be writing a book and speaking on stage and coaching people
But I
and
knew that. I
basically
knew
living
that.
my dream.
I
I
knew
wouldn't.
that.
Well, you knew that.
Yeah, but I knew that. I knew that from the start. I said, this woman's going to write a book and she'll be speaking on stage. And you mark my words. I knew that.
Well,
Wonderful. Wonderful.
you're
So
in.
when is the book out? When can we see it or buy it or read it?
I'm a first time author, so this is all new to me. But it should be done by the end of summer.
Okay.
So I'm
Cool.
halfway finished writing the book now. So
Yeah.
now it's about massaging it, getting it to where it's cohesive and makes sense, and editing and
Yeah.
these things.
Everybody on the call here, note that she did the George R. R. Martin thing. She said the end of summer, but it just didn't say which year. So we'll see.
This
We'll see when the fifth installment of Game of Thrones comes in here, the Grass Book. Any summer now.
2023. Woo!
Oh, Tara, it's been wonderful having you on the show. We're heading into 3 o'clock. It's the world's fastest 30 minutes, as you all know. Thank you so much for coming and talking about both the book and Grasp, this fantastic concept of how to build and increase your own confidence and move forward in a more intentional way. Doing things with intention, I know, is a big thing for you as well.
Yep.
Everyone, reach out to Tara on LinkedIn, reach out to me on LinkedIn. Super accessible people. We're always open for Q&As and whatever. Innovation Fika, every Wednesday, 2:30 p.m. You'll see me with somebody else next week, 2:30 p.m. But for now, we're saying thank you so much to Tara. And goodbye, everyone. Have a great Wednesday afternoon. And happy Easter. It's Easter weekend coming up. So happy Easter, everyone. And take care.